One of my favorite things about Kenra Color is the gray coverage. So using this chart, it's an easy way to formulate so that you are always getting 100% gray coverage for your clients, no matter what percentage gray they have. For clients who are 25% gray or less, you would use 25% of any of the natural series and 75% of your desired tone. For clients who are 25 to 50%, you'd be using 50% of the N series and 50% of your desired tone. For clients who are 50 to 100% gray, you're going to be using 75% of that N series and 25% of your desired tone. And you might be wondering, why am I using 75% of an N series when the desired tone is what I really want, and that's only at 25%? And the reason is, this percentage coincides with the amount of white hair, essentially, that your client has. So here, looking at that 50%, you have a client who's 50% gray. That means that 50% of their hair is white. So you need to fill that before you can ever achieve that nice desired tone. Let me show you some examples. Hopefully that doesn't fall on me. So for this one, we're gonna have, let's say we have a client who's a natural level 5, and her desired level and tone is to be a 5 golden brown. So let's say she is 25% gray. And the underlying pigment for this is orange. However, it's always good to know what the underlying pigment is, but for this example, since we're not lifting, the underlying pigment doesn't really come into play. So we'll just squiggle that away for now. So to figure out what our formula would be to help our client achieve her desired level and tone, we're going to take into consideration her percentage of gray and her natural level as well. So because it's 25% gray, we're gonna do a 1/4 ounce of 5N and 3/4 of an ounce of 5 golden brown. That will give us the gray coverage we need with the desired tone and level that we need. And since we're not lifting, if we weren't factoring in our gray coverage, it would just be 10 volume, but because we do have to cover that gray, we're going to be using 20 volume. So let's do another example. So let's say this client is also a natural level 5, and she wants to be, let's say, a level 8, and she really also likes that golden one. Actually, we already did that one. She just wants to be, she changed her mind. She wants to be an 8 beige, and she is 50% gray, and the underlying pigment would be a light gold. So now we have lift that we have to factor in, so that underlying pigment is important. She's also 50% gray, so we have to factor that in as well. So since we're lifting and we need to cover that gray, one of my favorites to use would be the Natural Ash series, especially when you're dealing with that gold. You can also use the Natural Ultra Ash as well, but we're gonna let her have just a little bit of warmth. We don't need it as cool as that Natural Ultra Ash, especially when it's at 50%. So we'll do 1/2 ounce of our 8 natural ash and 1/2 ounce of our 8B. And because she is 50% gray, we can, and not more than that, and we have to lift a few levels, let's also take into consideration that, let's say she has really coarse hair. So because we're lifting those we're lifting 3 levels, if she, let's say she has coarse hair, we're gonna use 40 volume. If she's got fine hair, we can use 30 volume. So let's say she doesn't have coarse hair, she's got fine hair. Let's use that 30 volume. So we're gonna use 30 volume, because with lift and using our N series, you can get that full gray coverage without using that 20 volume if you're lifting as well. But that's only if you are below 80% gray. And since 50% is right in there, we're good. So let's say she decides to keep this going. She stays with you for a long time, and suddenly that 50% becomes 80%. So now she's 80% gray. So she's still a natural level 5. She still wants to be that 8B, but now she's 80% gray. So this is going to change a little bit. So we're going to shift this around. So because according to the rule of Kenra Color, once a client is 80% or more gray, even if you're lifting, you can't use anything other than 20 volume. So we know we're gonna do 20 volume for her because 80% of her hair is salt versus pepper. So because of that, we're going to do 3/4 of an ounce of 8NA and 1/4 of an ounce of 8B with 20 volume, and we're going to get that consistent color that we were using before.